Hi guys, Mr. Starry again. The goal of today's lesson is, given two ordered pairs, can we find the slope of a line? Now, what we need to understand is that, remember, slope is a number that describes the tilt of a line, right? We talked about the four types of slope: positive, negative, zero, and undefined, and we'll kind of see how that ties into today. Now, we use the letter m, or the variable m, to represent slope. More traditionally, you can see slope represented as the change in the y value over the change in the x value. And this idea is going to help us build this number that we're looking for to describe the tilt of this line. Even more specifically, this is the formula for slope. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now, what does that mean? What is y sub 2, y sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 1? What I want you to understand is that these are not exponents. They're subscripts. They're labels, right? So essentially what this means is this is the y value of the second ordered pair. This is the y value of the first ordered pair. This is the x value of the second ordered pair. This is the x value of the first ordered pair, right? So if we remember, all ordered pairs are x comma y. Now, this being my first ordered pair, I'm going to give these variables the subscript of 1. The x variable of my first ordered pair, the y variable of my first ordered pair. These will get the subscript 2. Why? Because this is my second ordered pair. Remember, these are just labels. Now, before we get into using the formula, it's a pretty straightforward formula. We substitute the numbers that are associated with the variables, and we just kind of work out the math and see where it takes us. Before we get into that, I just want to estimate something here. Let's plot these two ordered pairs on my graph here. I'm not going to be exact here. I'm just going to kind of estimate. So 10, 3, that would be over 10 up 3. Let's call that right there. 5, 0. That would be over to the right 5, about halfway, and we're not going to go up and down at all. Now, we know that any two ordered pairs are going to create a line. I just drew two ordered pairs, so what that gives me the ability to do is draw a line through those two ordered pairs. What do you notice? What kind of slope do you see? Well, notice it increases as we go from left to right, so this would be positive slope. So a nice check for us by the time we're done with this is the number that we get positive? Because if it's not, then we probably made a mistake. Let's get into the formula. Well, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 in my numerator. I'm going to draw my fraction bar, and I'm going to reference this formula right here. My y sub 2 value is 0. I'm going to subtract my y sub 1 value, which is 3. My x sub 2 value is 5, and I'm going to subtract my x sub 1 value, which is 10. Now, it might be helpful to have a calculator handy here. 0 minus 3 is going to give me negative 3. Keep my fraction bar. 5 minus 10 is going to give me negative 5. Now, I don't want to leave this as a negative over a negative. If you watched the video prior to this one, negatives and fractions, you'll understand that this fraction right here is actually just equal to 3/5. So what this means is this 3/5 is the slope of this line. This is the number we would use to describe the slope of this line, right? So our final answer, we could say m equals 3 over 5, or 3/5. Remember, m is the variable that we use to define slope. For our second example, we're going to find the slope between 18, 16 and 13, 3. Again, I can draw myself a quick sketch. 18, 16, over 18, up 16. We'll go ahead and call that about there. 13, 3. So we'll go, okay, over about 13, over about 3, or up about 3. And look, I have two ordered pairs, so I can draw a line. Now, what do you notice? Again, it increases from left to right. So we should be looking for some sort of positive answer. I'm now ready for my formula. Remember, it's xy, xy. This is my first ordered pair. This is my second ordered pair. All right, we're ready for our formula up here in my cloud. My y sub 2 value is 3. I'm going to take away my y sub 1 value, which is 16, over. My x sub 2 value is 13, minus my y sub, or x sub 1 value, which is 18. Should get negative 13 over negative 5. Again, remember, impropers are okay. They're fine. However, we don't like this negative over a negative idea. Remember what that means. When both numerator and denominator are negative, that means we have a positive answer. Positive slope, positive answer, everything checks out. Looking at number 3 here, we're going to do the same thing. Let's estimate. Negative 8, comma 12. Where would that be? Well, negative 8, comma 12, we'll call that somewhere up here. And how about negative 6, comma 4? We'll call that somewhere right here. 2 points make a line. What do you notice this time? It decreases from left to right. So my answer is going to be some sort of negative slope. So at the end of my calculation, I should have a negative answer. Let's get started. X sub 1, y sub 1. X sub 2, y sub 2. Referencing my formula, y sub 2 is 4 minus my y sub 1 value is 12. My x sub 2 value is negative 6 minus, oh, forgot my fraction bar, negative 6 minus my x sub 1 value, negative 8. 4 minus 12 should give me negative 8. Negative 6 minus negative 8 should give me 2. If we reduce, we see that, hey, this reduces to negative 4 over 1. Even further, any number that has a fraction or has a denominator of 1 can be written as a whole number. My slope of my line is negative 4. Does it make sense? Yes. Right? We originally plotted our points. We see that the slope is negative. For our last example, let's find the slope between 12/16 and 4/16. What we notice is, okay, we have a y value that's exactly the same. We'll see if that makes a difference here in a sec. But what I want to do this time is, instead of doing our graph first, let's actually save our graph for last. So let's jump right into our formula. X sub 1, y sub 1. X sub 2, y sub 2. My formula says y sub 2, 16, minus y sub 1, which is 16, over x sub 2, which is 4, minus x sub 1, which is 12. 16 minus 16 gives me 0. 4 minus 12 gives me negative 8. Remember, when we have a 0 as a numerator and a non-zero denominator, the slope of this line is 0. So the number that describes this line is 0. What kind of line are we expecting? Well, let's plot our points and see how we did. Negative 12, or I'm sorry, 12 comma 16. We'll estimate 12 comma 16. We'll put that right here. 12 comma 16. And then we'll do 4 comma 16. So notice we're going over a different amount, but we're going up the same. 2 points make a line. Notice this time we have a flat line. Does that make sense? Well, we got our slope of 0. And if we remember from our last video, slope that had, or lines that have 0 slope are flat or horizontal. So this all checks out. That's all I have for you today. We'll talk to you in the next one.